Hey guys, and welcome back to Runway from the Rav, a Project Runway podcast. My name's Riley.
And I'm Maggie.
And today we'll be discussing Season 15, Episode 7.
Episode 7 already.
Yeah, we're plowing right through. We're down to the top 10 contestants, and after this episode, only 9 remain, which is almost half. Not quite, but almost half. So the theme this time around was going from the quote-unquote actual jungle of Universal Studios' King Kong ride to the quote-unquote urban jungle of the New York Project Runway. So that was kind of the theme, and this was our first travel challenge where the designers they flew them down to Florida, Universal Studios. They got to ride some rides, and they got to ride the new, it was a King Kong ride. It had a very specific branded name. And they wrote it, and that was their, inspiration. So then they got an hour to sketch by a pool, because, And then they flew them back, and it seemed like that probably all happened really quickly, within, a day or so. Yeah. Flew them back, and then they had one-day challenge again. So they're still in the one-day challenges for a while. So what'd you think about the theme?
It was fine.
I think this is our first, streetwear challenge.
Yeah, which I do like streetwear.
Yes, and I think a lot of the designers this season, now a few of them are gone already, like Tasha and some others, their emphasis is streetwear. So that's always fun, is when you have designers that's kind of their strength, and then you're going to get some cool stuff out of it. I think Laurence, Jenny, Natalia, Tasha, they all are kind of that ready-to-wear designer. I felt this was our first challenge where the Universal Studios just didn't quite fit to me. There was a few others, transitions, lenses for the day to night. I was like, okay, Mary Kay for the entrepreneurial woman. It's okay, this was the first one that I was like, yep, you just wanted to put Universal in there. And it was fun to watch them on the ride, but it was 2 minutes of the episode.
Yeah. It was a bit of a stretch.
They could have just watched the movie and done it the same way they did a couple seasons ago with the Peter Pan play.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Take them to the play, let them meet an actor, and then so that was a little odd to me. But, it's fun to see him travel, and then everybody did seem to be kind of rejuvenated. Because at the beginning of the episode, folks seemed pretty tired.
Yeah.
Pretty down. So that was the premise. And then the workroom this week, everybody kind of, again, they were inspired by that ride and kind of the jungle theme around it. So most of the people, it was jungly, that the fabric they went into mood. They got khakis and greens and darker colors, and then a few pops of color, red, yellow. Was there anything in the workroom that really stood out to you? I don't remember much drama necessarily.
No, not really. Pretty boring workroom this week.
Yeah, there was a few. When Tim came around, there was a couple people that he was like, yeah, you maybe don't. I think Natalia picked up
she got that black fur, faux fur.
Faux fur, literally King Kong fur that she was going to line her jacket with. I don't think she ended up doing that, but he was like, don't you think that's a little...
Too literal, yeah.
Although we've had a swimsuit with swimsuit print on it. We've had an apron dress inspired by an apron. So, King Kong fur on a King Kong challenge, why not? It's, whatever. But yeah, there wasn't a whole lot. It seemed that Erin was struggling for time. It also, I think Natalia, Tim gave her some feedback on her jacket to crop it. She was initially, I think, going down slightly the wrong path, and he kind of steered her to keep it modern, keep it modern. Dexter really decided to just he's like, I'm sick of being safe. I want to amp it up a little bit. And I think he did. We'll get to what he made, but I think he did. Brick was feeling confident. We saw a lot of Brick this episode. He picked some wacky fabrics. That's kind of the Brick way.
Yeah.
We got to see, just because there's fewer designers, we got to see more of them. I feel like we got to see everybody chat in their talking heads more. The early episodes, sometimes it always felt like the same people again and again.
I felt like there was no Rick, though.
Yeah, that's true.
I didn't see him at all.
Yeah, and since he did well last week, it seemed odd, or I think he did. Yeah, he always seems to be he must not have as much interesting to say.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell. But, or Roberi. I feel like we never hear much of Roberi. Like, him and Jenny had, like, a short conversation, and that was it. Right. But, yeah, so there wasn't not a whole lot. So let's just move on to the runway, because I don't remember any...
No, I don't either.
Yeah, like, nothing is standing out to me whatsoever. So, probably because they're all, like, tired, and now they have jet lag and sickness from the roller coasters. Manjing, not a fan of roller coasters, turns out. I remember that part. Okay, so first down the runway, and it's a shorter runway, there's only 10, was Brick, and he had a tribal print top that he made very kind of geometric and cut it in a very interesting way, and then he paired that with like a almost zebra, but not quite, more of like a hypnotic black and white stripe. Like, it looked like something you'd spin and try to, like, you're getting very sleepy. Like, it was, and he that's what he did. What'd you think about Brick?
Well, classic Brick.
Classic Brick pant combo.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it was not great. It was not, but I didn't think it was, like, poorly made.
No, I
did
actually...
a good job.
Yeah,
like,
I was surprised. His top, because I did not like the fabric he picked out.
No.
But I really liked that top more than I expected. I wish he had paired it with something other than those wacky pants. But he said he wanted to make, like, a 3D experience or, like, 4D experience or something. And the pants were just... When it's on a lady's bottom and her legs, I don't know that she want, like, these, like, weird, like, rounded, funky shapes. Because it just made her legs look way bigger and her butt look kind of weird. You know, it was just... Yeah, Brick's always taking risks. His tops are almost always fine when he's done these. This is his third challenge doing the pant top combo. And he has struggled with that in the past. The first 2 weeks is what he did, and he was in the bottom. Yeah. He had his glitter bell-bottom pants, and then he had, like, pajama striped pants with a blazer. And then this week, yeah, I thought his top was good. I liked it a lot. It surprised me, but if he had paired it... I don't know that it's streetwear.
Yeah.
But it was neat. And if he'd paired it with, like, a cool jacket and, like, a short, like, cropped pant or drop crotch pants this season... So much.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen drop crop pants in person.
No.
Not that we live anywhere maybe that people are really taking those kind of fashion risks, but still, I don't think I've ever seen them, like, in person. And this season is just drop crotch pants, But anyway, he just made normal pants, tight fitting, like, legging style pants. He was chosen for critique, and Brick was in the bottom. This week. He's been riding safe the last several weeks, but in the bottom this time. Next up, we had Rick, and he made a black top and pants, and it was kind of, he called it like a rocker style, and it was kind of rough. It was hard to tell when I actually watched it, like on the show, what all the detail was, but then I looked at a still of it, and it kind of had like patches and like straps and stuff.
Yeah, and like frayed, torn edges.
Yeah, he like kept it, like, I guess for that streetwear vibe. But what'd you think of Rick's?
I didn't really have too many feelings about it. I mean, he uses a lot of black.
He does.
And so, just another all black outfit. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. Like, to me, it was safe. It was fine. Yeah,
I agree. I wanted to like it because I liked Rick's stuff in the black, but it kind of looked like a black jumpsuit almost. It was hard to tell if it was separates or one piece. And then, yeah, it just seemed like kind of like, oh, like it needed a pop of color, like a super bright, vibrant, like jacket or like kimono thing or like even just really loud shoes or something. It just seemed kind of, okay. And he was safe, which I think, it wasn't bad enough to be on the bottom. It certainly wasn't on top, but we're dwindling down designers, so eventually you're all top or bottom. There's no more safe. And before I forget, this is the last episode with immunity.
Oh, okay. I missed that part.
She mentioned that. So there's still the Tim Gunn save, but this is the last time they'll get immunity.
Okay.
Okay, so next up, we had Natalia, and she made like tan pants with a brown jacket, and I can't remember what she called the style of jacket, but she was inspired by bat wings.
Oh, a dolman.
Dolman jacket. And then that was over like this cropped white shirt that had a real interesting fit in the back. It kind of like gaped out like on purpose. So what'd you think of this one? The bat inspired.
I loved it. I thought this one was my favorite this week. I mean, it's nothing that I would ever wear, but it just looked like someone who's much cooler than me.
Yeah.
Like, it looked very urban to me. Like, I don't know. I thought this was a good blend of, like, King Kong jungle
Right.
with urban jungle. Like, I thought she did a really good job.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not sure exactly when they made these pieces. I think it was more in the spring and summer. But it felt very fall to me, like with the color, just because it's fall right now. I'm not big for like big floppy arm jackets, and Natalia I think has made a jacket literally every time she's been able to make clothes on this season. So it was a cool jacket. I don't dislike it, but it's not really my style. But she was chosen in the top, which is a nice comeback for her because last week she was in the bottom and almost went home. I think it was super close between her and Tasha of who went home for the cocktail dress. So, but now she's chosen on the top. Next up, we had Laurence, and she was inspired by like this little spitting creature on the ride. I'm not sure what Rick or Brick were inspired by. Brick, I guess, just the tribal idea of the jungle. And then Rick, the blackness of the cave. I don't know. Yeah. So Laurence put down a khaki drop crotch pant that was a little funky in the crotch region, as she admitted throughout. And then she paired it with like this quilted kind of red jacket and then a black like little shirt. So what'd you think of Laurence?
I liked it. I don't know. I did see Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Which I think one of the judges commented that just about like the color
of the jacket.
That red was very Thriller. But that was like all I could see. I mean, I liked it. It was very well made as usual. And I don't normally like drop crotch pants, but these I didn't mind. I was okay with these. Like maybe because it wasn't like a super low thing. Like, I mean, she knew the fit was off, but it still looked really good. What do you think?
I liked this quite a bit. I didn't get Michael Jackson vibe from the red jacket. I was actually thinking like a modern day female version of Marty McFly. Like what he would actually wear in the future, because like he wore a red jacket in the movie, and then when he came to the future, it was all this weird fashion that never ended up happening. But this I felt is very now. Like I could see anybody wearing this. Like I've never even seen a pair of drop crotch pants in a store, but I would be like, oh, maybe, because they have like kind of cool detailing of like pockets down the side, and then the jacket. Laurence just always kills it with the jackets. And her jackets are very different from the Natalia, like, giant jacket coat things. Laurence has made, I think, 2 or 3 jackets now, and they're just always really cool. So, and this one was not a leather jacket. It was like a red, I don't know.
Are you sure?
It was, I don't think it was leather. I think it was fabric.
Oh, okay.
Maybe not. Don't quote me. But it didn't look like leather to me with the way that she quilted it.
Yeah.
It looked like kind of like shiny polyester-y. But who knows? And yeah, I liked it, and I loved the vibe. Her styling on her girl was perfect. She had a model with this really cool natural curly hair, just like this mane of it, and she just like they didn't style it hardly at all, and she kind of looked like, it reminded me of Tasha's first look in week 1, where for the unconventional challenge she made those really cool pants out of like those the mood bags, and then paired it with this cool top, and I was just like, this is like the same kind of girl, just vibing walking down the street. She paired it up with some like really nice clean pumps, and I was just like, this is cool. So Laurence was chosen for critique in the top, and she was in the top last week as well. Laurence is really impressing me, and her French accent is also amazing, and just her demeanor. Like I really like Tasha's personality, just in terms of like she seems so down to earth and nice, but Laurence is just like quietly confident and just, I don't know. It's kind of nice. So that I wouldn't call it like necessarily like humbleness, but she's just not constantly like talking or like bragging or anything, and it's kind of neat.
Yeah.
To see on a TV show that has kind of become known for people's like big over the top personalities or things like that. So next up we had Roberry, and he made like orange, kind of like burnt orange shorts, like board shorts with a green kind of like vest jacket, and then he paired it with like a white shirt. It was very basic to me. It looked, I don't know, what'd you think?
I can't quite remember the top, I do remember those shorts. I think I don't know. I didn't feel like this was street wear, really. Like, it felt like, this one felt really summery to me, which that's fine.
Yeah. Well, and I think he's from Central South America, so maybe that is streetwear there. Yeah. It felt very like, I don't know, you'd wear it with like a straw, like fedora kind of thing, and you'd like wear it in Panama. So maybe that's...
It didn't feel New York, though.
No. Which I think was more of the challenge. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know that kind of short length is really very street, because they were like to the knee, I think, or slightly longer.
Yeah, they were longer.
Yeah. He was just safe, Roberi, this time. Next up, we had Maggie, and Maggie made a gold strapless dress, and then he paired that with a denim jacket, because Maggie, much like my beloved Kini, denim.
Yep.
And now Maggie's a fan of denim.
I am.
And you've been a fan of Maggie often throughout the season. What did you think this time?
I did not like this at all. Like, I don't know. He was the only one that did like a dress.
Yeah, for streetwear to walk down the street. Yep.
So I thought that was kind of cool, but I didn't like it. It didn't read street to me at all. Like, the dress looked too fancy.
Yeah.
Maybe because it was metallic. I don't know.
This one, I think, would have been better as this cocktail dress.
Yeah.
Like last week. Like, this looked more like their coppery drink. Like, instead of his weird dripping...
God.
condensation dress. This just felt like, oh, I think you meant to do this last week. Yeah.
Yeah.
His jacket was kind of cool, but...
Yeah, it's a nice jacket. But I don't know.
I think a dress is a hard sell for streetwear.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta style it right, I guess.
And it was like a fancy.
Yeah, like, I don't know. It was, too fancy.
Yeah. He was just safe. He was really vibing it, though. He thought he was going to be on the top for sure. And it fit really well. Like, it looked good. It just didn't seem to quite fit. And I didn't get that it came from the actual King Kong jungle at all.
No.
And then for the urban jungle part, I was like, it's a little evening to me. And the denim jacket didn't bring it back down to daytime quite enough.
Yeah.
But he was safe. Next up, we had Erin. And she struggled in the workroom with timing. She ended up making gray shorts. I think they were shorts with yellow embroidery that seemed to take most of her time. And then she paired that with a gray. The front of the top was gray, and the back and the sleeves were black. And then they were connected kind of oddly on the shoulder. Like, they were just connected like on the top, and then like it was open around like the armpit area. That's what she did. What'd you think?
She just seems like she's just trying to, like, win. Like, she just is trying to please the judges. Like, she's trying too hard. And it's, I don't know, that embroidery was so stupid.
It looked bad.
It looked real bad. Like, it looked super crappy, and she wasted all of her time on that. And I don't know, it was just like, she just seemed bitter over last week when Jenny did the embroidery stuff, which is like her thing.
Right, the applique, yeah.
Yeah, and so she's like, oh, well, I'm gonna, go back and do my thing again. And she sucked at it this week. Like, it just made no sense. There was no point to do that. And it was so, to me, it just looked sloppy too, and I didn't understand the top, like, what it was, really. Yeah, the top was very, like, futuristic, kind of, but not well-fitting at all. No. And then the bottoms were just these weird length of a short that had, like, and her embroidery looked like you, like, sketch with a pencil and you just, like sketch out, like, a really sloppy, like, rectangle. It wasn't, like, normally she makes, like, a pattern and kind of puts that around. I think she's done that on a few pieces, but they just also seemed, like, randomly placed. But they were, like, 3-inch by 2-inch, just, like, squiggled. Yeah. It looked like hay. So I think somebody said it looked like hay. And I think you're right. Like, I think even Nina said she's using that embroidery as a crutch. Yeah. It looks like that's her, like, skill. That's her thing. And then she just applied it. And it was, like, this bright yellow paired with, like, a really flat gray. So it just,
not a fan of this
No.
one. And she went back to her power color, which seems to be yellow, but I don't know. This one just... Erin's lost a bit of her gusto, I think.
I think so.
That, or she's like petering out, or... I mean, by now, the judges have seen 6 of your looks. So, you know, if you really are a one-note player by this point, it's becoming more obvious. Like they said that about Laurence with her jackets and her shoulders. I'm sure eventually someone's going to hit on Natalia for constantly making big coats, and then Erin with her crochet and applique. Mm-hmm. But she was chosen for critique in the bottom again. So 2 weeks in a row in the bottom, not looking good for Erin.
Nope.
And we both picked at the beginning of the season Erin to be a finalist, and we also both picked Tasha because her first look was so strong.
Yeah.
So we're one down.
Yep.
And then with Erin, we'll see. So next up was Dexter, and Dexter used green, and he had like a khaki green, and he made these shorts at a very interesting length, like a mid-thigh short. That he paired with like this like top/jacket that had these huge like rounded shoulder. I mean, they were huge, rounded shoulder. They kind of looked like Mickey Mouse ears to me. Like that's how round they were, one on each shoulder. So what'd you think of this?
I liked it. I thought, I mean, the coat was over the top, and it didn't seem like realistic streetwear, but I liked the outfit altogether. I loved those skull buttons or whatever.
Yeah, he bought
they were.
skull buttons and like painted them copper. They look, like bronze. They look good.
That was just like, I don't know, just a cool little detail. And I loved how he styled it. Like the girl she had the braids in her hair, and like the whole look together was really nice, I thought. But I don't know. What'd you think?
It was a little much for me. I liked it more than I expected, but she kind of looked like a 3-headed thing.
Yeah.
And then some of the judges, I believe it was Zach and there was 2 guest judges this time. And one of the guest judges was also a designer, and her and Zach Posen. They said it was a little derivative of things they'd seen at other fashion shows recently with rounded shoulders, which we don't really, or at least I don't really follow a ton of fashion shows or collections. So it's the first I'd ever seen anything like this. I got to give that prop to Dexter. But they both said that it seemed a little derivative of other things at the time. And then I think it was either Zach or Nina, because Dexter was like, yeah, I'm really like out of the box, and I want it. And they were like, if you're out of the box, you don't have to tell people. Like, you just make your clothes and be who you are, and then let people decide if it's kind of out there or not. Which I think Dexter kind of needed to hear, because the last few episodes, him and Erin, I think, have been vibing off each other and thinking, oh, we're really pushing the boundaries, but maybe not. Yeah. So I didn't hate this piece as much as I thought. And it did split the judges as well. A couple people liked it, and a couple people did not. He was ultimately in the top, because there's always 3 top, 3 bottom, so he was technically in the top, but 2 of the judges were not fans. And this time we had 4 judges, so it was an even split. I'm sorry, we had 5 judges. Okay, next up we had Cornelius, and Cornelius put down patched jeans, like 90s style patched jeans with different colors of denim. Now, I think he was the only person who put down denim pants, which is 100% streetwear.
Yeah.
But these were like weirdly cut, and then he paired it with this yellow crop top that fit
so bad.
So horribly. It was like gaping, but also puckered, but also too tight on this one area. It was bad. What'd you think?
Absolutely hated it. Like, I just have my thing with Cornelius. He's just not my favorite, but I hated it. I didn't think, as you just said, the top was just so poorly made, and like, I didn't feel like it went with the bottoms at all. Like, and then the bottoms, I didn't like that either. To me, it was like Jinko jeans.
Yeah.
They were like wide, and then I don't know.
But like brought together at the ankle. They looked like jeans, like, for toddlers.
Yeah.
Where they're, like, real bunched at the top because they're, like, stretchy, and then bunched at the ankle, and then the rest is just, like, we don't know how big your toddler is, here's plenty of room. And then just different colored of denim patches. It looked so, like, 90s, like, TLC.
Yeah.
To me, and then the yellow top was, like, a nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It was so poorly made. It was nothing unique. You could probably go buy a crop top anywhere. Maybe it wouldn't be yellow, but it would look way better than that one. Yeah, Cornelius talks a lot, throws a lot of shade, talks a lot about how other people could improve, how good he is. I don't think he's ever been in the top except for the team challenge.
Well, the emoji.
Oh, and the emoji dress, right. Did he? No, he didn't win, though. Aaron won.
I think he won, because I was upset about that.
Oh, I thought Aaron won.
I can't remember. We're going to have to go back.
Well, okay,
later,
so Corny, that was like the second or third, like, episode, and he made an emoji dress that he phoned in and literally put tape on muslin and spray painted it, and they were like, yep. Okay, maybe not muslin, it was probably, like, white fabric. But anyway, Cornelius this time, this was somehow actually worse than, like, what Linda put down with that, like, slouchy gray and weird kimono. This was worse than Brick's bell-bottom pants. This was worse for me this was the worst thing I've seen on this season. Even Heidi said it looked like student work.
Yeah.
To me, one of the guest judges was like, this looks like I made it and I've never sewed in my life. I'm the same way. This looks worse than something I could go buy at Kmart.
Yeah. And what did, like, Nina thought that the ideas were there and, like, that it was
with the
ideas were fresh.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the heck are you talking about?
Yeah, she's like, this is very of this era. And I was like, no, it isn't. No, those pants are not coming back, and a yellow crop top that looks like you could go into Forever 21 or H&M and buy it for $10 is not. No, it's Project Runway. This is high fashion. This is cool streetwear. That outfit does not deserve to walk on the same runway as the Ronces, as Natalia. Just no. It shocked me that he was chosen for critique in the bottom. Mm-hmm. But we will get to, yes, the very bottom. So then last up, we had Jenny. And Jenny, this is hard for me to describe. I had to look again at a still picture, kind of like I did with Rick's, to fully wrap my head around what I was looking at. But it was a matching, and it was like a blue crop top with like red detail, and it was kind of like frayed and see-through-ish over top of something more solid, paired with like some cropped pants, like a capri kind of length with like more red detail, and then she paired it with socks and sandals. Mm-hmm. Red socks and brown sandals. What'd you think?
Didn't love it, but like for this one I had the same reaction that I did with Rick's, where it was just like nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I expected more from her because she seems like she's always like this is kind of her style.
Right,
like
she always says streetwear, yeah.
And she said that about this challenge, like, ooh, this is the one for me.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, this is like the least streetwear-y thing you've made, though, kind of.
Yeah, I was expecting to see something like the first episode, where she made the, like, super low drop crotch pant and stuff like, but this to me was so matchy. Yeah. That it looks like the outfit you'd dress, like, your 6-year-old daughter in. Only it would have, like, a cat picture on front. Like, they looked like this like, they were so matchy, had the same, but then it was cropped in the middle, so it wasn't, like, together. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it just looked like, and this is your outfit for Tuesday, honey, and it also kind of looked weirdly like pajamas.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of, like, fuzzy. It was hard to tell in the image, but it made me think of, like, a crazy cat lady. I don't know. This did not. I wanted Jenny to impress.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is your time. And she's made some kind of cool, edgy stuff. Like her, like, that clear jacket for the, what was that? The glow-in-the-dark runway and stuff. I was like, maybe she'll make, like, another, something cool, like a jacket and some separates. This was weird. She was safe, though.
It's like the classic curse, though. Anytime there's a challenge where someone's like, oh, this is my skill set, I'm gonna kill this.
Right.
They never, ever do.
Yeah.
Ever. Never.
Never. I don't think
always flop
yeah,
it.
they always ruin it. They're like, oh, this is their chance to make something theatrical, and the theatrical designer goes home that week. Or like, oh, it's the Real Woman Challenge, and the lady who is the realist of real women and who didn't used to be a designer goes home. So yeah. Classic. Okay, so that's the runway. So that meant in the bottom we had Brick, Aaron, and Cornelius, and in the top we had Natalia, Laurence, and then technically Dexter, even though the judges were split on him. So let's start with the winners, like we always do. So it ended up the top two was between Natalia and Laurence, and the win ended up going to Laurence. So I agreed with that. How about you?
I'm fine with it, but this week I wish that Natalia would have won. But Laurence's was amazing too.
Yeah, they were both really good, and like Natalia's did impress me just because she was solo last week, but because Laurence lost last week, and I completely disagree with that. Jenny's dress was cool, but I'm sorry, Laurence has killed it.
Yeah.
That this time I was like, and when it was said that she won, she just nodded, and I loved that because there's so many over the top people because like this is my chance, I'm on TV, I have to be weird and kooky, and we all have to be like Andy Warhol weird designers and artists, and she was just like nodded like well deserved, like yes, I won because I worked hard and I had a good piece, you know. So I liked that, you know. And then when she finally went to the back, she like smiled and everything. But
yeah, so
Laurence was the winner, and that means Natalia and Dexter are safe.
Yep.
And now the bottom again was Brick, Aaron, and Cornelius. Aaron was almost immediately told you're safe.
Yeah.
Like, wasn't really given much, because I think they just like her so much that being in the bottom twice in a row was, like, so horrible for people like Cornelius or Natalia and stuff, and they would, like, say things to them, and with Aaron, it was like, okay, you're safe. You know, we'll probably use a Tim Gunn save on you if you ever go home. Here you go. And then, so the bottom two was between Cornelius and Brick. And it ended up that Brick went home.
Yep.
So did you agree with that one?
No. Cornelius needs to get the heck out.
Cornelius has yet to impress. I think I said it just last episode that the only thing he's made that was like actually kind of almost a design was his emoji dress, which neither of us still liked. Like, we didn't like it. But at least it was like an attempt at something that was fashion. Yeah. Otherwise, I feel like Cornelius kind of like, oh, what was her name? Sarah or whatever. Never really, like, they just keep making things that you could find, like, at Sears. That's not a compliment. When you're a high fashion designer, Sears and Kmart should be horror, like, in your mind. Like, it's awful. And he just keeps talking and I'm sure that's why he's in, because the producers like drama, because he has that friendship with Natalia, but then he kind of has, like, you know, he complains and throws shade and stuff, but to me, his was weak. He's been on the bottom. He's been weak before. So his Brick, and we once, you know, earlier in the season, we're like, yeah, send Brick home. But Brick's kind of actually turned out some different things. And at least I liked Brick's top.
And, like, at least it was well made.
Yeah. His pants fit really well. If he had made them in, like, black or denim, if he'd made the bell bottoms again, he probably would have been safe. But because he'd mixed his fabrics and he's not a Dom Streeter, yeah. He's not great at mixing fabrics. But at least his top, like at least half of his garment, I thought was decent. And they seemed to like it too. They just didn't like his pants enough and then the weird dichotomy between the two. But then Cornelius, they hated everything about it. But he stayed. So Brick's gone.
So dumb.
Our lovely Brick, who made his brick pattern because he likes brick, and he's got, and even today when he got eliminated, he said, well, you know, when one door closes, you know, usually a window opens, and if that window's locked, you just punch it. And I was like, Brick with the quote of the season, if the window's locked, you just punch it, because he's a brick. And what do bricks do? They break windows. But Brick, he made it further than I think we thought.
Yeah, he
based
did.
on his first two outfits. We're like, wow, if he makes another pant top combo. But he went into like dresses and then swimsuits, and he was okay. His swimsuit was actually pretty decent. And then, but the second he went back to bottoms, pants, and a top, there he went. Yeah, I don't think this was the time for Brick.
No.
Not to say I think he was going to win or anything, but I definitely think Cornelius had the weaker spot this time and has been in the bottom more often. Because this place is all about cumulative judging. That's why Erin's still around, despite her being on the bottom twice too, and they really seem to hate her piece this week. But
yeah.
So that's episode 7.
Yep.
Any final thoughts?
No. You want to talk about next week's episode?
So next week, I don't remember what the topic was, but it's another team challenge.
Yeah.
Teams of 3.
Oh, shoot. I can't think of what it is either.
They mentioned it, I think.
Oh, they said I thought they said this is like a first. So it'll be something new.
Oh, that's right. It's going to be something with the public. So they're going to, make either a look or a line, and then the public is going to vote on it.
Okay.
It's something like that. Now, I don't know if that means they get to vote the winner or if that'll just determine the top and the bottom. Mm-hmm. So that it's not the judges, it's like real random people around New York. Yeah. But I think they're probably making mini collections, but it's going to be teams of 3. Mm-hmm. It looks like there's a little drama revolving Cornelius, which is, I'm sure, why they kept him.
Well, and it looks like he's the victim, which just makes me so mad.
Yeah, well, he has a big victim complex. That it's not that he can't design. He just doesn't like the challenge. It's not that, remember, because he didn't want to make a swimsuit, and he was almost on the verge of tears because he didn't want to make a swimsuit.
Yeah.
Or with the glow in the dark challenge, he's like, I guess if they hate it, they'll send me home. He just. So that'll be interesting because we've already had one team challenge. Where people work together pretty well, both the teams, I think. But this is smaller teams. It's a little more, there's only 9 designers now, so it must be 3 teams of 3. Mm-hmm. And then with the whole idea of it being real world people walking around New York going to be voting on you, it's slightly different than playing to the judges, because a lot of people do. They make things that they know the judges will like, so.
Yeah. Well, and didn't it look... going back to the Cornelius thing. It looks like he's going to be on a team with Erin and Dexter.
That's what it appeared to be. And we know that they're, basically best friends. So I could see how it could be hard for him. And especially if they're well, we're better designers, so we'll do it all. It could be a Mahjong moment when he was in his group and he felt they didn't listen to him. Yeah. But there, at least he was able to make his own piece. And his was the strongest piece in that time. But this time, yeah, it might be... And also, we have seen before Erin and Dexter... not necessarily always the hardest of workers if they feel they've really got it going. And that's what it looked like. Cornelius was like, I'm the only one working, and they're sitting over there, which we saw, I think, 2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
The cocktail. Oh, I'm sorry, it was just last episode. So, yeah, the cocktail episode, they were, done and loved theirs, so they just, sat on the couch. So, that'll be interesting. I'm sure it'll be a drama. Maybe we'll have more to talk about in the workroom.
Yeah.
And then we'll have something to talk about with the people on the street. Because this week... the challenge was a little more interesting because streetwear is cooler to me than swimwear and a cocktail dress, but just the premise behind it with Universal Studios and King Kong felt a little ham-fisted in there. Get it? It's a jungle. Do you get it? You got it? Bat wings. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking forward to next week.
Yep. And we're nearing halfway through the season. After the next episode, we'll be down to half of the designers with only 8 designers left. So, or maybe they'll do a double elimination. You never know. But I think Immunity's gone now, so it'll just be the Tim Gunn save usually then adds an extra person back in. So we'll see when that gets used. But otherwise, that was episode 7. I think that's all we've got.
Yep.
All right. So you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at Runway. We're also now on YouTube. SoundCloud we're going to be phasing out just because there's no more space. So, yeah, and we will see you next week.